Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. So I want to have a chat with you about why I think Elon Musk and Tesla are part of a fake fraud revolution and a fake fraud innovation. And I want to share my thoughts on this. I was really thinking about this today when I saw the Apple developer conference thing, and I was like, oh my God, is that all you got? Is that all you have, Apple? And I was thinking about how way it used to be with something like an Apple, we used to go out to the stores and like wait in line to get the next phone because it was like this really cool thing. But that doesn't exist anymore with Apple, right? Yes, they have their events, but they're trying to manufacture hype that just isn't there anymore. And so I think there's a generation of young people out there who didn't grow up through the, say, computer revolution or internet revolution to sort of see the changes firsthand. Now, let me give you an example of why I think Tesla and Musk are essentially fraudulent in terms of their idea that there's some revolutionary company. Is because their products inherently aren't meant for everyone. That is a fundamental difference between Tesla and other companies. So let me give you an example, guys, of a revolution that I lived through. And for those of you old enough, you'll know exactly what I'm referring to. Do you remember when Google first came out? I was in college, and I remember people were like, hey, did you Google someone? Did you try Googling? And I was like, what the heck is the Google? what is that? And this was back during the search engine wars. And you could talk about Yahoo, you could talk about Excite, you could talk about any number of other search engine companies out there, because there were a lot, guys. There were really a lot, and not all of them made it. You could talk about browser wars, right? Ways to sort of browse the internet. But the point being, though, is that these were technologies that everyone was ultimately going to use, right? Everyone was going to use this thing, and it would actually change the way that you find information. And the big thing for me, I remember it was back when I saw an interview with one of the Google guys, I don't remember which one, and I remember they were talking about Stanford, and there was like a project they're working on, and the basic gist was, what if you could take any book from anywhere in the world in whatever language and translate it to any other language and have a library of that, right? Basic gist of it is you're making information accessible to everyone. That's essentially what the original idea of these kind of things was. It's revolutionary. If you want to talk about something like Amazon, which is fine, the idea is that, hey, I'm going to be able to start out with books, and then ultimately ended up being ordering all kinds of things, and they have it delivered to your door, right? And it basically changed the way that we shop, and it affected, again, everyone. If you want to talk about Netflix with streaming, before, guys, I used to go down to Blockbuster Video all the time, pick up it had like it was like $2 Tuesday. I can't remember what it was, but I remember you get like 5 tapes at a time, take them home, watch them, return it, etc. But you would have to go to the store all the time to see these movies, and that really changed that sort of home theater market. Netflix first started with mail CDs or DVDs, which I remember. And for those of you old enough, you'll remember this stuff too. And it's a true story. I remember reading about the internet how Netflix would slow down how many they would send you, because if you consume too many, because they would say it was unlimited, but it simply wasn't true. But that was revolutionary, right? That, and then they went over to streaming. You guys know the story of that. There's multiple examples of companies that really change everything. And I think and this is sort of where I can kind of tell someone's age. There's a generation of investors and kids that think, okay, Tesla's going to be just like that. They're going to be just like Google. They're going to be just like your Apples. They're going to be just like Amazon, Netflix, everything. They're going to change everything, right? The thing is, guys, they sell cars. They sell cars. Yes, it's electric. I get that. I'm not stupid. I know it's an electric car, but it's a car. Ultimately, it's a car. And they're building a car, trying to sell you a car that's not for everyone, right? It's not going to be something that everyone can put in their garage. It's not going to be something like Google, where everyone can use it. Gmail, anyone can use Gmail, basically. Even if you want to talk about, say, social media and Facebook, that was revolutionary. Everyone can be on Facebook. Massive user base, right? Elon had no interest in ever making a cheap car. It's evident in the book if you read that book, and we've talked about it. And then even the reporting came out that they canceled said thing, and then they're trying to make it sound like robotaxis is like the future. I laugh. And I understand sort of why the Tesla fanboys and fangirls then think, oh, well, it's going to be a robot in every home. That is so far away, and it may never ever happen, right? One is so far away in terms of a humanoid robot in every home, and it may never happen. And these people out there Elon Musk is 52, right? And I always mention his age because he's not going to be doing this stuff, that much longer. Could he go to Mars? Let's just say yes, theoretically he goes to Mars. I would agree that would be revolutionary, but it doesn't seem to be that important to him, right? Now he's jumping on the AI thing, which is the next, like, essentially, or the it thing to be in right now. And the problem with this stuff is like it's all like pipe dreams and stuff like that. And I'm telling you guys this stuff because I want you to think about it in terms of business and just ask yourself this fundamental question: is Tesla, talking about Musk or Tesla, are they building a product that is designed for everyone that would literally change the world because we're all using said product? Tesla only sells like a couple million cars a year, and I don't mean to downplay Tesla in terms of like building it from what it was before. Remember, Tesla got in, or Elon got in with the original founders, and some people think like Elon built everything all by himself. It's not true. He had a bunch of money, he invested, and I think if you go to the Wikipedia site, I think it was like 5 or 6 founders of a Tesla, something like that. I can't remember. You guys can tell me the names of everyone on there, but there's always disputes on who the official quote founders are. But Tesla's Elon Musk was clearly not there from the ultimate beginning. He wasn't. He came in later. He brought the money. The thing is, though, he's really good at marketing and these kind of things, right? And he's really good at inspiring a bunch of young kids who didn't live through any particular revolution. And like I'm saying, guys, if you live through, not having Google and then suddenly having Google, if you live through not having Facebook and then having Facebook, right? If you're young and from your childhood to now, you've always had Facebook, you've always had Google, you've always had Amazon, you've always had Netflix. If you didn't know a world before those things, you wouldn't really have known like really the changes that we've seen in society. And that's all kinds of different ways. And this goes for any kind of new technology. I would make the case in terms of like say, and like this would be the driving one. And I guess it would be Google, maybe would be the one. I think for the change in driving, just talking about just driving in general, I think Google Maps is massive. Like how we navigate stuff, right? You could probably argue maybe Uber is a changing company, but even then, though, guys, I honestly, and I've mentioned this concept before, I think the real change for a company is, are you solving a problem that addresses something that everyone would use? So I'll give you an example. The real challenge, and something that I wish the fanboys and fangirls over at Tesla would really harp on or talk about more, is if our main problem we're trying to solve is energy consumption, right? Or the main problem we're trying to solve is pollution, air pollution. Come up with technology that addresses that for everyone. For me, it would be getting cars off the road and getting people into more transportation. Or if you're really talking about I'm talking about really revolutionary, true revolutionary would be like, hey, figure out a way to make it affordable and environmental friendly and cheap, and to put solar power in everyone's house, just for example, or wind power, or come up with some sort of fusion reactor we're going to have everyone's house, right? Something of these nature. I'm talking about things that like everyone would use. It would drastically change our life. But I understand, guys. I get it. If you're a young kid and if you're lost half your money in Tesla, you're still trying to convince yourself that somehow this electric robot vehicle is going to be this world-changing technology that we're all going to be like benefiting from forever and ever and ever. And like if you just go out and look at what's happening in the world, and I'll give you an example of something we did see in our lifetime, was something like a Zoom, right? Work from home, just how Zoom integrates that stuff. But the problem with Zoom, though, even though yes, 100% it was revolutionary in terms of like how we do business, they're definitely not the only company in play, right? Zoom comes out and like Google's a competitor in there, Microsoft Teams is a competitor in that field, Slack, whatever. There's a bunch of competitors in that field. And this would be the same thing with regarding the Tesla stuff. Yes, they're the first mover, right, in sort of electric vehicles, but because they move first, other companies can then be the second mover, can see all the mistakes that you've made. They can catch up very, very quickly. And you're talking about a very competitive industry. Moreover, you're talking about a physical product which has low margins traditionally, right? And I know people say, oh, well, it's Chris, Tesla has really great margins, but it's not going to be much longer because, when you're looking at, and we use the example of Apple, and I was thinking about this today. Remember when I was talking about how Apple used to have that razzle dazzle, right? The sort of like innovation, first mover kind of, new product category, these kind of things. These days, Chinese companies, I'm just using Chinese in particular, and you can talk about Korean companies that are here in Korea, but two different perspectives. The Korean companies, they make copy Apple technology, whatever, but Samsungs aren't cheap phones, not by any stretch. Anyone who's bought a Samsung, you guys know that's not cheap stuff. In fact, Samsung phones are pretty expensive. But like, some of these Chinese phones that actually are quite cheap, their technology is not bad at all, and they're making great stuff. And this is in the phone category. If you guys ever had a Huawei or I think OnePlus is another company, they're these cheaper phones out there. You can get like a pretty good smartphone these days for like $200 or $300, and they're totally fine, right? I don't need to have like VR capability on my phone. I just need a phone to call someone and browse the web, something like that. Anyway, I know when I make these kind of videos to young kids, they get all upset and stuff like that. Oh, Chris, you're so stupid, you're so dumb, and that's just the question I posed to you. How is an electric vehicle that costs $30, $40, whatever, $70,000, Cybertruck $100,000, how is that a product that's going to get into the hands of every consumer in the world, right? Just tell me, please tell me. And because the idea when you say, oh, it's going to be the next Apple, etc., it's just, do you understand like something like, for example, the smartphone? Like that's a product that every single person on the planet can buy. This idea that everyone is going to buy Teslas, it's not happening. He's not interested in that kind of stuff, never has been. It's a premium product. So, I was thinking about this, like that, and that's why I call it like a fake revolution or fraud revolution, right? This idea that we're going to change the world by selling premium products is ludicrous. If you want to talk about cars, right, the whole thing with like, Ford, the Model T kind of stuff, he was all about, hey, we're going to make a product that my own workers can afford. like that idea, right? We're going to replace the horse. It's just funny. But this goes back to, guys, which I think is so important, and I stress with you, is education, right? Learn from history. Also, too, learn to accept that there are other companies out there, there are other countries out there, there are other ideas in the world. I think the cult culture that we have right now, it's not just Tesla, it's many of our cultures, is because of social media, to where you can go to whatever pumper channel, be it on TV or social media, and only get reinforced beliefs that you want to hear, right? There's very little real discussion these days on anything, and that's a product of our current social media system. And you could, again, I'd say, Facebook and social media is definitely revolutionary to culture in good ways and in bad ways, but it's definitely a change. And I just want to hear from you guys. Where do you think the changes are going to be in the future? For me personally, I think if we're going to, I'll just give you like a simple example of like something really revolutionary. I think biotech, if someone ever finds a cure for cancer or finds a cure for AIDS, these kind of things, I think that will be something that will really change the world. Again, I told you, like sustainable energy in a way that, is cheap and affordable for everyone, clean, those kind of things, really good. And I don't even think, honestly, transit is as big as, because like work from home really changes everything. You're not going to ever replace people entirely. That's sort of what the AI stuff is wanting for, because the problem is if you replace all these people with AI, you don't have any people working anymore, and like your whole system completely collapses. Now, certainly, this is real, certainly in many sci-fi movies, they paint that world. They show that world where you have the ultra wealthy up top, like living in some sort of cloud city, and then poor people like way at the bottom. And we may go to that world, who knows? And maybe it's going to be like Ready Player One, and people are all going to just live in some VR world every day, and there's only going to be like a few people who make anything, right? And you either make stuff, who do the VR world, or you don't. Maybe that's where we're going to go, and then after that, you're going to have people who like manufacture drugs to placate all these sad people. I'm getting more dark sci-fi kind of stuff, and maybe that's where we're going. But I hate to break it to you, it's not going to be Tesla and electric cars. Elon Musk is 52. He's probably only got a few more years left in him to be, one person wrote, I will say, to be fair, one person wrote in the comments something really clever. They were saying, there's a high chance, no matter what happens, Elon Musk never leaves Tesla, but he just doesn't work there anymore. Not that he works there now, right? And just does a bunch of crazy Twitter crap for the rest of his life and just collects the paycheck. That might be the case. He's got enough cult following to sort of support him and that kind of thing. But anyway, just want to share my thoughts on why I think Musk and the whole Tesla revolution is fraudulent. and is not the big change that you think it is. And if you're too young to remember companies that really did big changes in our lives, you wouldn't know these things. And I try to share it with you, and I get it. I was young once too. You think, oh, people are so stupid, they don't know anything. But sometimes people who have experience may know something that you don't know. That's my thoughts on this. Please share yours, and I'll catch you in the next video.